Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, is it the perfect time to buy your dream car? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Man Time. Well, I am not one to typically splurge on big expenses. In fact, I am the opposite. I save up for things and then buy things with cash, and only buy things that are within my affordability range, which is not much. Trying to build a barn dominium and saving up for that. But I've been driving just real crappy, cheap crap cars for like the last forever. I'll just go through like the last 4 cars that I've owned. Currently driving, before I bought this, a 2001 Honda CR-V. Before that I did have a halfway decent 2014 Subaru Impreza, but the engine was starved for oil and eventually lost a rod bearing. Before that, a 2009 Subaru Forester that also was starved for oil and lost a rod bearing. And then before that, a 95 Ford Contour. So just a slew of not very great cars. And up until I bought this car, I hadn't spent more than $5,000 on a car. That was my like entry level to purchasing a car, was $5,000 cash money, you know. And I just thought cars like this were unobtainable and out of my price range. But now, cars like this, a 2016 Ford Mustang GT 5.0 manual transmission, you know, all the good American things that men want in a vehicle, is actually affordable. And why now is the perfect time to buy cars like these, cars that are 10 years old. Now they're getting above 100,000 miles. And if they're a daily driver, like this one was, you're going to see mileage up to 150,000 or thereabouts. So this is a 150,000 mile car. It was somebody's daily driver. It was a one-owner car, and the car has always been in this area. It was purchased from the Ford dealer at the dealership about 30 minutes away from me, and was driven, you know, in this area, and has a service record history at the dealership for its entire life. So let's go through some of the things you want to look for in buying a used car that's about 10 years old, that was a $40,000-ish car back then. A couple of the cars that you might be looking at or might think are right up your alley for a sports car. A couple of the things I was looking for: Ford Mustang GT 5.0. That was my number one thing. But in looking for this V8 manual transmission sports car, I was looking at Ford Mustang GTs, I was looking at Camaro SS's, I was looking at Corvettes, manual transmission Corvettes. Those are pricier. Some other things I was looking at was maybe getting a newer GTI, a Toyota Corolla manual transmission, maybe the a little bit newer model you can get for under $15,000. But my price range was 12, 13, 14,000, right in there, and ended up getting this car within that price range. And the reason for that is these cars have come down in the last 12 months from being a trade-in value a year ago, or just a little over, of $20,000, down to now a trade-in value of around $13,000. So a huge reduction. And the reason for that is the higher mileage, right? When cars get up around 150,000 miles, the value of them just steeply drops off. And if you're looking on like online sites, some of the ones that I saw were like Carvana, Edmunds, Cars.com, things like that. A lot of the cars that they sell are going to be like topped out at 100,000 miles, and they're still getting a pretty good value. This car wouldn't exist on one of those sites. because they only go for like 100,000 miles. That's when a car is still kind of reliable, at least for the next 30 to 50,000 miles. Around 130 to 150,000, that's when like all of the reliability testing ends for a lot of the consumable parts on cars like this. And for what I was looking for, a manual transmission car, manual transmissions, clutches start failing around 130 to 150,000 miles, especially in cars like this that are higher powered sports cars, right? So that's why the value just dropped down very dramatically. And then combined with the high price of groceries and all the other things that we need to spend money on, people are not wanting to fix their cars because typically they're living, you know, most of us are living paycheck to paycheck. And when your gas prices go up, grocery prices go up, your consumable stuff that you're spending money on goes up, you know, $200, $300, $400 a month. Things like fixing a clutch are pretty much out of the question. If you haven't been saving up and you're living paycheck to paycheck, your paycheck didn't go up $300 or $400 a month, but your expenses did. So a lot of people are trading these cars in, and dealerships are typically going to send them off to like an auction. So they're going to be popping up at either really cheap at the dealership or at, you know, used car lots around town. So to find one of these cars in this condition, in this mileage, you're going to want to go around to like used car lots, or you're going to want to go on dealer sites and look for used inventory and just search those sites in your area, you know, for the type of car that you're looking for. So that's what I was doing. That's how I picked this one up. This popped up on a dealer's website in my area, and it was like just listed on there the day that I was looking on there. So you almost have to do it every day. But I mean, if you've only got a couple major car lots in your area, you know, you spend 15 minutes going to used inventory for those different dealerships. But this popped up, 2016 Mustang, didn't even list the color. All it said was Mustang 5.0 manual transmission, 150,000 miles on it, and it said call for price, right? And so I knew going into it, like these cars were coming into the dealership with a trade-in value of 13,000. So I called them up, you know, and said, hey, I'm, you know, interested in the car that you've got listed. It's a crazy story because they were sending the car off to auction. It had a bunch of problems. I'm going to have another video going through all the problems that it had. But long story short, I ended up getting the car. I ended up getting the car for under 14,000, and it needed some work. So if you're thinking about getting one of these in this condition, never been in a wreck, right? Clean Carfax. That's one of the things. Any of these cars, you want to look at a Carfax, because there were other cars very similar to this one. 2015, 2016, 2017 is going to be this newer body style with the independent rear suspension, 5.0 horsepower around 440. There was another one that I saw that had been in 3 wrecks, and 2 of the wrecks like basically destroyed half of the vehicle. So it had been like rear-ended and then sideswiped or something, or ran into a guardrail where it messed up, you know, 3/4 of it, and then another accident where it messed up 3/4 of it, and it had 5 owners. And it was about the same price, right around 15,000, 14,000. But since I bought this one, I've seen 3 other Mustang GTs around the same mileage, around the same price in this area. So they're out there where you can get an affordable one. If you're looking for an EcoBoost or a V6, same with the Camaros. Those are maybe right around 10,000. Some are just over, some are just under, depending on the mileage. But it is a great time if you have, you know, a limited budget and you've always wanted one of these American Muscle sports cars, V8s, manual transmissions. You know, under 15,000, we'll typically get one that's going to need some work. If you don't mind seeing your car sitting up on blocks for a couple weeks while you do a project, and have a few grand to spend on some needed upgrades, then this might not be the time to buy for you. Or, go to Edmunds, go to cars.com, look at the ones that they have. Be prepared to pay starting at $20,000 and up to $25,000, depending on mileage. But those cars are going to be, clean Carfax, lower mileage, under 100,000 or 100,000 and below, and be good runners, out of the box. But you're going to have to pay for that, right? 5 to 10,000 more than I paid for this one. So it is the right time if you're willing to do a little bit of work to the car and you don't want to spend more than 15,000 on your dream car. This is my dream car. I was on vacation up in South Dakota. My brother's got a Corvette. My friend has like 4 Mustangs. We all went driving through the hills, V8 power, windows down, cruising through the hills, and that rumble of the exhaust, the manual transmission, the connection you feel with the car and with the road, and being in a lower car that handles amazingly in this case. Like, this handles, I would say, better, or I'm at least more confident feeling in this than the solid axle Mustang, which I drove, and I don't know if it's a solid axle C5 Corvette, but I feel more attached to the road in this car than I did in that car. So that's my 2 cents on if you're thinking about getting a new car, sports car. If you've wanted a sports car but couldn't afford it, now might be the time. Hopefully this information helped you out. If it did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It's not always going to be content about this Mustang, but there's going to be some content about this Mustang because it needed a lot of work and it was rough driving when I first got it. I'll go through all the cost of the things that were issues with the car, things that I had to fix right away that made it unsafe to drive, and then now things that are failing on it that I'm also having to replace, and the cost for all that stuff. So anyways, get out there, have you some man time too.